Okay, this is a geometric progression exam type question. As always, quite wordy. Read it carefully. 160 litres we start with, but we lose 15% by the end of the year. So if we think of end of year 1, you're going to have your 160. Now if it's losing 15%, that's the same as timesing it by 0.85. End of year 2, so if you think about the year, the end of the year is basically giving you the power there. So the question asks about 10 years. So at the end of year 10, then you've got your 160 times by 0.85 to the power of 10. So let's do that on our calculator. Which gives us 31.5 litres, which is what we were supposed to show. So far, so good. So now we've got an extra bit to the problem. At the start of each new year, a new barrel is filled with 160 litres, like the first part of the problem. But this happens every year, every new year. So after 20 years, you end up with 20 barrels. So we've got end of year 1, that first barrel, that's going through the 20 years, but then start of year 2, you've got another barrel being filled, and so on. And this keeps happening every year. So if we try and picture what this looks like, so we think about the barrel that we started with. So after the 20 years for the first barrel, we would have, let's get rid of that one. We would have the 160 times by your 0.85 to the 20. So that's sort of barrel 1. But then what about the next barrel? Well, that won't be in there for as many years. That'll only be there for 19 years. And then we have another barrel. You get the idea. I guess we could go through and add up all these terms, but that's going to take a long time. And you can hopefully see that this is really a summing problem. So I want to sum all these terms. Now if we look at it carefully, you can see there's 160 in each term. So we could say that it's really that. Okay, that's going all the way down to our very last barrel. But you've actually got a 0.5 in each one, so let's take that out as well. Now if you've taken 0.85 to the 1 out, then all of these have now been reduced by 1. Think about that last term. If it had a 1, that would actually, if I've taken that term out, that would just go to the number 1, or 0.85 to the 0, you could say. So now we're going to look at summing this lot. So let's think about our summing formula. Always quote the formula you're going to use. So that's our formula. What about our terms? Now I'm not actually going to worry about this at all. Okay, so I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to sum this bit. So my first term is 0.85 to the power of 19. My R value, my common ratio, remember that's always the second term divided by the first term. So that's 0.85 to the 18 over 0.85 to a 19. Obviously that's going to be something quite ugly. And how many terms am I doing it from? Okay, well I'm going all the way from 19 down to 0.85 to the 0, which is giving me this 1 here. So it's actually my 20 terms. We know it's 20 terms because it's 20 years. Perhaps that makes more sense. So let's pop some numbers into our calculator now and see what we get. Oops, it's gone mad. So we're summing 20 terms. So just throwing all this now into my formula. I'm not going to bother to work this thing out here. Just leave it as it is. Be more accurate that way. Suppose if we think about it, it's just 0.85, 1 over 0.85, whatever that is. That would be look nicer. So, or 0.85 to the minus 1, I guess, if we think about it like that. So go to my calculator, I'm going to work that out. And I'm getting 6.408 for that bit. Notice the 20 there that I forgot, so I just popped that in when no one was looking. Now that's my summing the terms in the brackets, but I also need to make sure now that I times it by this bit up over here. So it's 160, so my sum to 20 is 160 times by 0.85 times by the result you got for summing all your terms, which gives me 871.5 litres. And there we go.